Hello and welcome to another video from EarnPad.com. I am StevieB, happy to have you all with us today. So today you guys are going to get to see something a little bit rare. You will notice I am wearing weird armor and I am in a weird place. So I am actually doing something I virtually never do. I am in the Arkadia Underground hunting. I stay away from the underground because there's a 5% hunting tax and I do not like hunting on tax lands. You'll also notice I'm wearing armor that a lot of you might not be familiar with. This is my Earthshocker Armor. This is a very, very pricey set of limited armor. The reason it is so pricey is you could only get it from the daily token trader. It is no longer, or the combat token trader. It's no longer available. When you wear all 7 pieces, you have an increased critical damage of 60%. For 5 pieces, it's increased. 7 pieces increased damage 60%, 5 pieces increased damage 40%. So I'm wearing 6 of the 7 pieces, and in addition to that, I've also got my reload horns on. So I'm giving up just a little bit on the critical damage output in order to get faster reload speed. Now, this is an armor I very, very rarely wear because it's exceedingly expensive. I mean, the markup on this is something like 1,500 to 2,500% markup. So it is definitely not a cheap set of armor. It is limited armor, so it cannot be repaired. This is not something you want to wear if you're going to be taking a lot of damage, because when it takes damage, it decays. Now, the kicker to wearing this armor is if you don't take any damage at all, then you get no decay, right? So this is one of those unique kind of situations where I can actually wear it and I can do so without taking damage, so therefore I take no decay. I'm going to turn the master volume down on the video just a little bit because somebody's using Mind Force. So I very rarely get a chance to use it. It happens that it has nothing to do with the damage types. I can just kill the mob before it gets to me, which avoids the decay issue. So I am down here in the underground, and I'm currently hunting badger. We do have plenty of sip smacks and all that good stuff for the haters. So I have the BC-40 Armatrix. It's a BLP rifle. I do not use a lot of rifles, but when I do, I go BLP, most of the time anyway. So I'm down here hunting badger. Now, if you'll notice, I'm actually able to kill before it ever gets to me. This avoids me taking any decay. It avoids me taking any damage, and therefore it avoids me incurring any costs. So why am I hunting badger? That is a very good question. I am looking for something called nanites. Now, nanites come in a couple different flavors. There's adjusted nanites, which is the important one. That's the one that I'm after. There's also improved nanites and modified nanites. So they're extremely, extremely rare. They tend to drop from badger almost exclusively. Sometimes you can also get them from Wombanana, so I'm told. I call them one bananas, but I think they're Wombanana, something like that. Also here in the underground. So I have never been able to loot one. I really haven't spent a lot of time doing it because, honestly guys, I'm kind of getting fed up with mayhem. It really kind of keeps me from doing a lot of stuff I want to do in game. The reason I want these, and the reason I'm out here seeing if I can make any headway, is there is a mission here on planet Arkadia for a set of soul-bound armor. It's account-bound armor called Viceroy Armor. And the Viceroy Armor is a armor that was very popular a few years back. A couple of people do still try and get it here and there, but it is upgradable. So the kicker is this armor gives you additional evade protection whenever it's equipped. There used to be a special skull candy set you could get. You can no longer get that set. So the problem that I have is I don't want to go get the armor and make that video if I cannot turn around and immediately upgrade it. Because when you upgrade armor like that, it starts the tiering process completely over. Well, I don't want to get the base set and then be using it for, 6 months and then go out and get all the adjusted nanites and everything and turn it into an adjusted set and use it for 6 months. Then get all the improved nanites and use that for 6 months, and then get all the modified nanites. I'd rather just do it all at once. I would rather literally get the armor, immediately adjust it, turn around, immediately improve it, turn around, immediately modify it, just get to the end goal and be done with it. So these nanites are incredibly expensive. The adjusted nanites run something like 250 ped each, and you need a total of 14 of them. So that is a lot of ped to spend just to upgrade your armor one time. The improved and the modified nanites are almost as expensive. I think the modified are like 40 to 50 ped each, and the improved are somewhere in the area of 100 ped each. So it's a very, very expensive upgrade set to do if you just go out and buy everything. I have talked to people who have done it. They have told me almost unanimously they wish they would have at least farmed some of the nanites themselves. So it's definitely worth it in a lot of respects, but like anything else in game, it also depends on how you do it. There's a lot of things that can be worth it, but if you spend too much money on it, or if you don't do it the right way, it is very much not worth it, right? Hang on one second for me, guys. So, it's one of those things, I would really like to have it. I would really like to see it happen. Is it going to happen today? No, it's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen this month. This is something that if I want this set of armor, it's probably, unfortunately, going to take a very long time. It might be one of those things that I start in on it, and, you know, I start every here and there getting a few nanites, and I decide at some point to just abandon it and say screw it all together, because it just takes more time than it's worth. I just do not know yet. But I know that it is something that I want. It is something that I have wanted for a very long time, so it's something that I'm going to go for. So the point of today's video is kind of several-fold. Number one, there are things in game that you can get that will help you out tremendously, like Earthshocker Armor, but you don't want to use them all the time. This was a very expensive set of armor. I'm very glad I've got it. It helps me out tremendously during Mayhem, and it helps me out tremendously during certain hunting activities, but I cannot wear this armor all the time. It almost has to be a situation where I'm not going to be taking any damage whatsoever, because I do not want this armor to decay. There's no way to replace it, and it's very, very, very expensive. There's virtually nothing I can think of in-game that is worth hunting that would justify the decay on this armor. But if I can do it without taking decay, different story. Same with my reload helmet. My reload helmet, now it's not nearly as expensive. I could buy another one off auction pretty cheap, but I want it to take as little decay as possible. And because it's armor, if it takes no decay, then I can keep using it infinitely, right? So I have to be very selective. If I was taking damage, I would not be wearing this set. I would be wearing my ghost set, because my ghost set is unlimited and I can repair it. Unfortunately, my ghost set does not have any cool buffs that help me do more damage or reload faster. So it's just kind of a perfect storm. Because of how slow badgers move, I'm able to use this set of armor that I don't normally get to use. The other thing is, why would I bother hunting on a taxed land? Well, normally I would not. Normally I absolutely would not. I do not like hunting on taxed lands. There's some players, they do like hunting on taxed lands. It's a personal preference thing. For me, I don't like the math. The exception here is I am after something that I can only get from a mob, that I can only find on taxed lands. So because of that, I'm forced to. Now, the good news is the thing that I'm after is so valuable that it more than offsets the tax that I'm spending. If I do not get what I'm after, clearly I'm going to be kind of up a creek without a paddle, because then I'm paying a lot of tax for no reason. But if I do get what I'm after, then the tax is more than worth it. And it doesn't have to be something that's in loot. Sometimes it can actually be skills. Sometimes there are certain missions and certain mobs that you can only find on taxed lands, and sometimes the skills that you get make it worth it. So it's one of those things you have to dive a little bit deeper than just looking at markup or just looking at what you want to do that day. Personally, I do kind of like hunting these badgers. I've always thought they were kind of a cool mob and kind of fun to hunt, and I just never really had a chance to do it. So that is kind of like an added bonus on top, right? So you have to look at a lot of different components, is what I'm getting at. I would not normally just run out and start hunting on a taxed land to hunt on a taxed land. If I could find this mob somewhere else, I would, right? So there's a lot that goes into it. I want to make the video about the Viceroy Armor for you guys, because it's a really cool set of armor. It's something that I think MindArt got marginally correct. I wish they had not made it soulbound. That would have been much cooler, but they did. The good news is you can TT it. Now you lose all the markup, but you're losing the markup anyway. Even if you just get the base set, you lose the markup because you could be selling that stuff to somebody else for profit. Instead, you're trading it at TT value for a set of armor you can only get TT value out of. I call it the Snicker equation. There's a problem in economics. You have 2 Snicker bars. They're $1 a piece. You have $1. What is the opportunity cost? Well, if you buy 1 Snicker, you're giving up the opportunity cost of the other Snicker. So you cannot have both. You have to make a decision on which one you want to buy, and you can only purchase one. So the opportunity cost is you're giving up the ability to get the other Snicker bar, even though you're getting an identical Snicker bar. Then if you take that a step further, you're actually giving up more than that. You're giving up the ability to buy every other Snicker bar that is $1 on the planet. So the cost of 1 Snicker bar is literally every other Snicker bar. On top of that, to take it even further, you are giving up the opportunity of purchasing everything else on the entire planet that cost $1 or less. And then to take it further, you're giving up the opportunity to invest that dollar. My point being, to get 1 Snicker bar, you have to give up infinite other things. So every dollar you give up to do something, you're giving up infinite other things you could be doing with that dollar. Kind of same thing. The time that I'm spending here hunting for these adjusted nanites, I'm giving up that time that I could be doing anything else in the world. So whenever you get your Viceroy Armor, yes, if you should ever wish to quit playing, you can take it to a trade terminal and you can trade it in, and you can get your TT value back. But you are giving up that markup, but you're giving up that markup regardless of what you choose to do with that material. If you do anything other than sell it. If you've got orange paint, the Viceroy Armor, I believe, requires 3,000 orange paint to be traded in just to get the regular base set. You're giving up that markup on that orange paint if you decide to use it to color instead of sell. So you're giving that markup. You're giving that markup up that way if you choose to use it to color your vehicle, just like you would be if you choose to use it to get Viceroy Armor. So if you want the Viceroy Armor, I really think it's a pretty good deal. Even the base set gives some pretty good protections that I think most players could benefit from. In fact, here in a second, I'm going to hop over to the wiki and I'm going to read off the information on the base set for you guys, and then I'll read the information about the adjusted and improved sets for you as well, so you guys can see why I want it so much. I really want to be able to make that video, but like I said, I really want to make it where I immediately buy it, go over the stats, upgrade it to adjusted, go over the stats, upgrade it to improved, go over the stats, and then upgrade it to modified and go over the stats, because it's a set I plan to keep forever, for the duration of my time in game. The other thing is the video I made about the horns of Monria that you can get, the 3% reload horns. Those actually work with Viceroy Armor. So if you have Viceroy Armor, you can wear the whole thing. You can even wear the helmet, and you can still wear those reload horns. They fit on top of it. The set that I'm wearing right now, the Earthshocker, I cannot wear my reload helmet and the Earthshocker helmet. I've got to pick one of the two. So I'm giving up wearing my helmet, which would give me about a 20% extra damage output when I was doing critical damage, but I'm gaining an extra 3% reload speed, which is helping me kill before these things ever reach me, which is helping me avoid decay. So I know there's a lot to unpack there. I know what is supposed to be a fairly simple video is not. But I wanted to go ahead and make it anyway for all those points and then some. And we will go over the Viceroy stuff before I end the video, guys, I promise. We'll at least go over the specs. So something else I want to talk about in this video, which goes with this, is why I'm giving up efficiency by using something other than my FEN pistol that I have. My BP 20 FEN. So the BP 20 FEN, it does the job. I can kill these badgers with it, but it's just not enough DPS. It's just not fast enough. They get to me, they hit me, they would be decaying my Earthshocker armor left and right, so I could use it with like my ghost set, but even then I would have to do some amount of fapping, or my armor would be taking a lot of decay. And I've got a pretty high evader level, a pretty high dodger level, almost twice, if not 3 times what it is I'm hunting, and I would still be doing a lot of fapping, taking a lot of decay. So I tried it, and I was actually getting subpar loot because the system knew that that armor, that setup, that weapon was just not ideal for what I was doing. I ran across an article from MindArk, which is rare, about a week ago. I wish I would have saved it. So we've talked a lot in the community about how your looter skills affect your loot. This article was about how efficiency affects your loot. Not just the efficiency of a weapon, the efficiency of your entire setup. And it was an official article from MindArk on the subject, and essentially what it said is efficiency of your weapon and efficiency of your setup, it accounts for about 7% of your loot composition. So we know that whenever you're using high efficiency, you're getting better loot mix. You're getting less shrapnel, more sellable items. There is something called an optimal loot composition. Apparently this does exist, and MindArk has confirmed it. And if you are using a subpar setup for hunting, or if you're using a low efficiency weapon, you're just not going to hit that ideal loot mix, right? So according to this article, efficiency is about 7%, and then the efficiency of your overall setup is about 7%. Now that's composition, that's not total return. That's just how much shrapnel do you get versus other stuff. Looter skills, by contrast, are up to 0.07%, so less than 1/10 of 1% per level of your loot return. These are two different things. Looter skills affect how much loot you get, and efficiency and skill and setup determine the composition of the loot you get. We already knew this, right? So let's look at this. Does it really do me any good to use a slightly higher efficiency weapon when the rest of my setup is subpar? No. So that is why instead what I did, I went out, I got a BC40, I got a proper amp for it, I got an extender. So instead of 82% efficiency, which is what I have with my, I'm sorry, 83.2% with my BP20 FEN, instead I have 70.2. So I'm giving up 13% in my weapons efficiency, right? Which most people would be like, why would you do that? That would be a horrible idea. Don't ever do that. No, no, no. Look at what else I'm doing, though. Because of that, because I'm giving up that 13% in weapon efficiency, my overall efficiency goes up. Instead of wearing Ghost Armor that's taking Decay, I'm wearing Earthshocker, which is delivering more damage, which is lowering the Decay that I take. I'm not having to FAP because the damage output from my reload helmet, from my weapon, and from my Earthshocker armor is avoiding me needing to FAP. It's avoiding me needing to take Decay on my armor. So even though I'm giving up that 13% weapon efficiency, I'm gaining far more than that in my overall setup efficiency. And ever since I did that, the loot mix has completely changed. I've been getting a pretty freakishly good loot mix ever since I switched. I tried it the other way just to see if it would work the way I thought it would, and it did. It was a lot of shrapnel, a lot of junk, not very good returns even. The actual amount of loot I was getting was even subpar, and I switched over to this setup, and bada bing, bada boom, good to go. Now, that doesn't mean that this would be ideal always. If I had level 90 Evader, level 85 Dodger, maybe the BP FEN would be the way to go, even with the lower DPS. It's not so much a cost to kill or a time to kill factor, it's an efficiency of your overall setup. This goes back to what people used to call a finisher weapon. You don't hear a lot about this nowadays, but back in the day, back before Loot 2.0, back when I started, people would tell you get you a high DPS rifle and use it to drag them in, and then whenever you get almost to the very end, switch to a lower DPS weapon to finish them off. People didn't look so much at efficiency as they did damage per peck, right? And you did not want overkill. You still don't want overkill. But there's a difference in having massive overkill and just having something that does the job. If I overkill by 50 HP on a Badger, it's not that big of a deal. Now, if I had a weapon so massively big I was able to tank these in one shot, and my weapon did twice the damage that these things have HP, that'd be a different story. I'm not going to take a weapon that can do 150 DPS and I'm not going to use it to go hunt, you know, Exosaur young. That would be vast overkill, and the system would not count that as efficient either. So the reason I want that efficiency of my overall setup is because even though the efficiency of my primary weapon is greater, the efficiency of my overall setup was killing my loot composition. What am I after? I'm not after loot return. I am after something specific that I can only get in the loot. I'm after those adjusted, improved, and modified nanites. If I have a subpar setup, if I have a super low efficiency weapon, if my armor isn't right, if my DPS isn't right, if the system feels that I'm not being as efficient as I can possibly be, it's not going to reward me with a good loot mix. It's going to punish me with a lot of shrapnel. Well, that is going to make it where I almost never get the nanites I'm after. Versus, I can, for this small amount of time that I'm here, I can switch to a limited weapon and a limited amp and an extender, and I can switch my normal hunting setup to be more efficient for what I'm doing now and be rewarded with a better loot mix, which is going to give me a higher probability to get that nanite that I'm after. Which do you think I'm going to do? Clearly, I'm going to switch to whatever is going to help me get to my goal the fastest, right? And I'm not saying I couldn't get there with the BP20 FEN. Maybe after a long enough time, I could maybe get an adjusted nanite or two. But the thing is, why? I know that this setup is superior for what I'm doing. Even if my normal setup is superior on a day-to-day basis, for my mission right now, for what I'm doing right here, right now, this is the superior setup. The system's going to reward me for that. I would be stupid to do anything else, right? So that's why I'm doing it the way I do it. You do not see me take strides outside of my normal setup very often. This is a rare example, but I'm doing it because it's what the system wants. And if I want the system to do what I want, then I have to do what the system wants, right? So something to keep in mind. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm going to kill 1 or 2 more badgers for you, so I can get back to a safe space where I'm not going to be taking decay. And then I am going to go over the Viceroy Armor with you guys so you can decide if it's something that you want to do. So let me get back to somewhere safe real quick. Hope everybody has been having a good couple of days. I know it's been a few days since we pumped out a video. I'm trying to keep the videos coming, guys. I've got a lot on my plate at the moment. I've got a ton on my plate. Real life is really being a pain the past month or two for sure. So now that we're somewhere safe, let me pull up the Viceroy information for you guys really quickly. Also, guys, keep in mind, since I'm here in the underground and I really don't shoot videos here a lot, if you go to your storage while in the underground, this is not the same storage that you have on planet Arkadia. This storage here in the underground and your planet Arkadia storage are 2 completely different storages. So you have a 500 item point storage here in the underground, and then you have a 500 item point storage on planet Arkadia. It's just like having 500 item points on Calypso and then 500 item points on Entropia. So the reason the Viceroy Armor is so impressive, guys, first of all, it looks kind of cool. You guys, I'm sure, have seen it in-game several times. It's got pretty decent protections. Stab 11, Cut 9, Impact 15, Burn 12, Cold 8, Acid 14, Close 35, Firearms 12. So we do a lot of Stab, Cut, and Impact. So the one thing that I'm looking at, Stab 11, Cut 9, Impact 15, that's pretty good. So the base set has a TT value of 400 PED. So to get the base set, you need 4,000 Coria Veneer, 4,000 Mullica Veneer, 300 Hika Veneer, 4,200 Arcase Veneer, 100 Soft Leather, 1,100 Generic Leather, 40 Wool Thread, 50 Wool Cloth, 400 Paint Can Yellow, 100 Paint Can Brown, 100 Paint Can Green, 3,000 Paint Can Orange, 1,000 Muscle Oil, 200 Animal Thyroid Oil, 100 Animal Adrenal Oil, 440 Animal Eye Oil, 6,700 Animal Oil Residue, 100 Electronic Stabilizing Components, 40 Tier 1 Components, 200 Socket 1 Components, 300 Socket 2 Components, 220 Socket 3 Components, 1,000 blazer fragments, 1,000 nova fragments, 140,000 explosive projectiles. That is everything you have to turn in just to get the base model set of armor. It's really not that much if you're a hardcore grinder. I literally checked my storage the other day. I've got like literally all this crap laying in my storage. The only thing I really don't have in my storage is some of the veneers at the very beginning of the list, because I don't primarily hunt on planet Arkadia. If I did, I would have that in abundance as well. So even if you didn't have absolutely everything, a mid-level player would have 99% of this stuff, and you might just have to pick up a few pieces here and there. So once you adjust it, when you just have the base level armor, it doesn't give you any special buff other than the regular protections, right? When you adjust it, it does adjust some of the protections just a hair, it looks like. And then when you adjust it, if you wear 3 pieces of adjusted, you get 5% evade. If you wear 5 pieces of adjusted, you get 10% extra evade. If you wear 7 pieces of adjusted, you get 10% evade and a 0.2% increased critical hit chance. I know 0.2% increased critical hit chance does not seem like a lot. That is huge. An Ares ring improved that people are willing to pay 800 to 1,000 ped for gives you a 0.6% increased critical hit chance. So 0.2% is pretty huge. That is pretty valuable. Once you have it adjusted, when you go to improve it, it goes 3 pieces equipped, 5% evade, 5 parts equipped, 10% evade, 7 parts equipped, 15% evade, and 0.4% increased critical hit chance. So then when you modify it, and I'm looking this up on the fly, guys, once it's fully modified, 3 parts equipped is 10% evade, 5 parts equipped is 15% evade, 7 parts equipped is 20% increased evade. And when you have all 7 parts equipped, you also get 1% increased critical hit chance, a full 1% increased critical hit chance, which is huge. Also, those protections on the armor do go up just a hair every time you upgrade it. To put that into perspective for you guys, my ring that I wear, my very, very expensive ring, gives me increased evade chance of 22%, and no increased chance of dealing critical damage. So my problem that I have, the reason I really haven't super been after this, is I already have 22% increased evade. You can only have 25 total, right? That's literally the max for the system. If I was to equip a set of modified Viceroy and my ring, I would only have a total of 25% increased evade. All that extra would just go down the tube. It would not let me benefit from it because it does cap you out. But that, for a player who does not have a seasonal ring, is a large increase over their base buffs. If you don't have seasonal rings at your disposal, if that is outside of your price range, or if you just do not have one, then having a 20% increased evade while having a 1% increased critical hit chance, that is massive. That is game changing. And that's why it's so expensive to get the adjusted set to begin with. The improved set and the modified set, once you have the adjusted set, they're kind of pricey, but they're not super pricey, right? The hard part is the adjusted, because that's the one that you have to have first. That's the one that the nanites are the most expensive. They're almost 225, 250 ped each, and you need 14 of them. So without the adjusted set, the base set doesn't give any special protection. The adjusted set is where it starts giving special protection, and then once you have it adjusted, then you can improve it, then you can modify it, and the cost to do both of those is much less than it is to do just the basic adjusting. So steps 2 and 3 don't do you any good without step 1. So it can be a game changer if you do not have a seasonal ring. For me, would it really drastically alter my stats? No. It would only give me an extra, if I equipped it with everything I'm wearing right now, it would only give me an extra 3% evade, which is not going to help a ton. And then it would give me a 1% extra critical hit chance, which is big. I can't understate how big that is, but it's not going to do for me nearly what it would do for another player. For a player who did not have a ring like the one that I do, or better. So for a lot of people out there, if you can get the nanites, if you can get them cheaply enough, either from purchasing them slowly and getting good deals on them, or if you can get them from buying them from friends or farming them, then yes, that set of armor, it's worth a lot of money because of the effects that it has on you, because of the increased defense abilities, because of the increased critical chance. There is quite a bit of value to it. That's why the nanites are as expensive as they are. If the set did not do something beneficial, then the nanites would not be nearly that expensive. If this was just a BS armor set, it wouldn't even be worth going after. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. This video's ran a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but I think we got most of the information in. I wanted you guys to see what I was doing, why I was hunting on a tax land, the benefits of the Viceroy Armor set for most players, and I also wanted you to see why I did the rare thing of changing up my usual hunting setup from my super high efficiency FEN weapon to a more run-of-the-mill weapon mixed with a special armor set. I did it for a reason, and I hope that you guys have, understood why I did that. Yes, I'm using a lower efficiency weapon, but I have a higher overall ideal or more efficient hunting setup, which is being rewarded. The game is actually rewarding me for that. So I'm not saying ignore the efficiency of your weapon by any means. I think that is probably one of the most important aspects of hunting in Entropia, but there are those rare instances where you have to look at more than just the efficiency of the weapon. You have to look at what you're killing, how fast, how much damage you're taking, how much decay, how much you're having to FAP, and depending on the situation, sometimes you might need to switch to a more run-of-the-mill weapon, something that's still as high efficiency as possible, but it might be more than just a weapon that is in your setup. In this case, the fapping, the decay were a big issue, so I had to switch to a lower efficiency weapon, higher damage output, but that allowed me to wear a different set of armor and a reload helmet that I don't want to decay, but it allowed me to do it in such a way that it benefits me greatly. So guys, I will leave it right there for now. From everybody from earnped.com, we really appreciate all the support, guys. Be sure and hit like on that video, hit subscribe if you haven't already. The haters are still out there sitting around waiting us for upload videos so they can hit dislike, so every like matters. We have started making preparations to make a video that we've been promising you guys for a while about a hidden game mechanic that has long been forgotten in game by players that is still there today that can help you out. We will be making that video in the very near future. Plans are already underway. We've already been in contact with some people that have watched these videos that will be helping us make those videos. So guys, for earnped.com, I've been StevieB, sip, sip, smack, smack, F the haters. We appreciate you guys being here today. Like I said, be sure and hit subscribe if you have not already. Be sure and hit that like button. And if you really want to help support us, head over to earnped.com, because when you earn, we earn. That is literally the best way you guys can help support us. Also guys, if you're wanting a withdrawal from earnped.com, shoot me a private message in-game if you cannot get me in-game for some reason, because like I said, real life is hectic and I've got a lot going on at the moment. Shoot me an email to sbraggs62@gmail.com. That's sbraggs62@gmail.com. Braggs has 2 G's. sbraggs62@gmail.com. Subject line withdrawal. In the body, please put that you're wanting to make a withdrawal from earnped.com. Please put your username, and please put your avatar name in-game. They should be the same, but if they're not, please let me know both. Also, let me know what planet you are usually on, and what time zone you are in, and what time you're usually on, and we'll make arrangements to get you guys paid. So guys, for everybody from earnped.com, we hope you have a great week ahead. There's a lot of good stuff coming to Entropia. We have a lot more content we'll be pumping out, but for now, we're going to leave it right there, and we will see you guys with another video very soon. Take care, Stevies.